Welcome back to another episode of All in Martin County School Districts, your A-rated school districts monthly podcast. I'm your host, Kirsty Germain, and the topic for this month's episode is going to touch a lot of our hearts because this time, about a year ago, Hurricane Milton came through and impacted a lot of us on the Treasure Coast, impacted our families, our communities, our students, our employees, and even right here at Murray Middle School. So for this podcast, we're going to talk with principal of Murray Middle School, Miss Tiffany Roth, and you saw how this community came together. You saw how Hurricane Milton really impacted it and then how it came together. So I'm glad that we could have you on for this episode to talk about it.
Yes, thank you.
I want to go back to, I know it's going to be difficult. I'm already getting chills talking about it. But I want to go back to that day. I'm sure it was more so like the day after that we really found out.
Yeah.
So just as principal, you were probably the first person, one of the first people to know how Murray was impacted. So what was that like?
Yeah, so Wednesday afternoon, we have these emergency radios that we take home, right? So it's really to kind of keep us in the loop and make sure that we're all kind of connected at different school sites with the Emergency Management Center and those folks that kind of keep us in the know. So there was some chatter. I'm sure as everybody is aware, right, there were tornadoes popping up all over Martin County. Anywhere from Palm City Farms to just south of us off US 1. They were kind of all over the place. And there was some chatter on the radio about possibly a hit at Murray Middle School through the radio. And then not long after that, our SRO was actually working the shelter at Port Salerno and said that he had saw a tornado on site over here by our school. But also that it looked like it had kind of come up from the east side of our campus. So at that point, it was really kind of just, we know that there was a tornado sighted over by our campus. We didn't know to the extent if it had hit our campus or if it was just kind of skirting the neighborhood. We had got the all clear to meet on campus here that Thursday morning. So I think we met around 8 or 9 o'clock. That morning with just like, we don't know exactly what we're going into. My husband drove myself and my son, and then we met our other APs here along with our district response team, and you could see it just coming down the street. So the insulation, believe it or not, is like one of the things that I remember most just because it was blown all over everywhere, right? It was in the parking lot, it was in the road, it was in the park across the street. So we had parked on campus and we had known that the tornado had came from this side, but at that time there was still some discussion that they thought there might have been a tornado or it might have skirted kind of on the western side of our campus. So we immediately had come to this side because we knew that was like, we had already seen the pictures, right? So we had come to this side and it just is not, it's not like anything you could ever imagine, right? So we went through the chorus room and the band room and much of that building, the musical building, the entire roof was gone. But one of the things I can remember thinking, right, is that we have to practice these drills every year, right? You have your tornado drill, your fire drill, et cetera. And one of the things I vaguely remember, but it still sticks out like a light, right, is we always tell our students, right, you go to the centermost point of a room, right? There's no windows, things like that. And had that been the case, right, where our students and our adults are on campus, that would have been the spot where they were the safest. So like while all of that is happening, right, like you have to take appreciation, one, that there wasn't anybody on campus, but also that the things that we practice really would have been the things to been helpful in that case. I can remember immediately going into those rooms with our district team and our school-based team and like, what can we salvage, right? Like, what can we take at this point? The rooms were flooded. There wasn't carpet in there, right? But they were flooded. It was still actively raining in those rooms at the time. The roof was almost completely gone. one of my favorite photos from that time is the chorus room where you can see the roof literally flipped off and our American flag is still standing there. So there's something to be said about that. But we started grabbing all of the things. We started with the instruments in the band room because those are our most precious possessions, right, in that. And then we started grabbing everything that we could and moving it to another room that was dry. And we really had this assembly line. And I'm just so thankful that people who were here and teachers and people that didn't need to be here but really kind of rallied. We had principals from other schools show up to help us, or a lot of our district administrators. Like it was so neat to see that happening amongst everything else. So.
I know we like to talk about All in Martin. I mean, it's the name of this podcast. It's our hashtag that we always use, but we have that for a reason. Like, yeah. I know I'm even, it really is amazing to see everyone who came together just after that, like come out and help out. And even the companies and community, like businesses that came. I know, cause that was a Thursday, Friday came, Saturday came, Sunday came, and Monday morning we opened. Yeah. We were back at school. Yeah. I mean, if that's not the definition of All in Martin, of a strong, resilient community, I don't know what is. Yeah. And you were there all weekend with your staff, making sure that everything was good. I think that photo that you were talking about was definitely one of the most memorable photos to come out of it. But in the resilient side and the hopeful side, I think mine was you were able to save
the fish.
Because one of the rooms that was impacted was the agriculture room, and they were able to save the fish.
Yeah, so and the funny thing about that is, so the building that the agriculture room in was completely devastated. We weren't able to pull anything out of there, and we had looped through all of those rooms, and then we had kind of went to the west side of the campus, like just making sure that that was the only area. And when we had went back to the ag room, I saw the fish tank, and you could tell like something had fallen on it because part of it was there. And I looked in the tank, and I was like, they're still in there, right? And Mr. Beasley looks at me and he's like, no. And I was like, yes. And he's like, we're not. And I was like, we're taking it, right? Like we can't leave them. Like literally everything else in here is done. So that, we were a new administrator, right? Like last year was my first year being principal here. It was Mr. Beasley's first year, Mr. Carbone's second. And I don't think that I have ever heard of an admin team that gets to bond over a tornado and like the impact that it has. But I'm so thankful for them and that connection that we had the opportunity to build.
That you will for like forever have too. Yeah. So I know a lot, that all happened so quickly. And again, like being able to open back by Monday morning, I think is another story of resilience for your staff here, for our district staff, and for the businesses that helped us. Absolutely. Because we wanted to make sure that students, they didn't really see a change after. Yeah. They knew something happened. It was going to impact them, but it wasn't going to impact their education.
We didn't want it to be, like, because the tornadoes had impacted so many of them within our community, we had about 20 students who were significantly impacted on top of our adults, right? So while we wanted to talk about it and kind of honor where we were, we wanted to make sure that we were creating a space for them that was where they could come and be their best self, get the things that they needed without being like a constant reminder, one, of the damage that had taken place at home, or just the spaces that they loved. I mean, a lot of our kids who are in band and agriculture and chorus, like they're in there for the entire 3 years. So we wanted to make sure that we were keeping up with them and the adults that have to reside in those areas too. So for them to be able to get back in and then get the B for the first time since the 18-19 school year,
yes.
Like that's where it's at, right? Like our kids, and that's part of the learning, right? Like we do things all the time that we think we can't do, and to see them persevere and just really lean on those resiliency skills is something that I'm most proud of.
You should be. I was going to bring up that B too, because that that is just amazing that they were able to go through this event. And like you said, not just here, but at their homes and still come through strong and earn a B.
Yeah.
Our students, our staff, they're just amazing.
They are.
I love it. Well, and speaking of staff, there was a special story with one of your custodians, Israel Cruz. His house and his car and just they were really impacted from this. So, but the community came together and helped him out. So I want you to talk about that because I know you know that story a lot better.
So Mr. Israel and his wife actually both work for the district and have for many years. He is a beloved member of Murray Middle School and has been, I think, for almost 20 years now at this point. But he lives in the neighborhood that backs up to our campus, right? So ultimately the tornado had started actually just behind us in the soccer field and kind of come through. As it had exited our campus, it went into the neighborhood next to us. His house and then the one on the end were pretty significantly damaged, among others, losing walls, obviously windows, and you know, he had his shutters up, but the windows blew out within the shutters. He lost exterior walls and roofs and fencing, all of the things. And they had 3 vehicles in the home and they were all totaled. So pretty significant damage. The first day we actually left here and that was our next stop. So to see businesses and the neighbors and the community really rally around all of them, he still talks about it this day, and he's just, you know, he's special, and to see people love on the people that you love.
Yeah. So a local church and our parents here at Murray Middle School, they came together and they were able to work with a local dealership and got Mr. Israel a car, which helped him and his family out tremendously. And I remember when he was surprised with it. That was so funny because he thought he was in trouble or something.
Yeah, he thought he was coming up for a meeting with the principal.
Surprise, you got a car.
It was pretty special.
Yeah, that warms my heart.
And it wasn't like, that's the community that we live in, right? Like they show up and they do without being asked, and they step in, and it's more of like, what can we do to help? But just stepping in and recognizing an area or a need and putting the people together is pretty special. Yeah,
we do. Again, all in Martin, our Martin County community is just absolutely phenomenal. And I do have to give a shout out to the Education Foundation in Martin County, because they set up a fundraiser, a donation fund for victims, like employees and families of the Martin County School District who were impacted by Hurricane Milton. They were able to raise funds through that. And then also on top of that, they were able to donate supplies to give out to families. A lot, like 3-4 truckloads of supplies for families. So we can't appreciate them enough for doing that for our families.
Yeah, they really rallied. I think it was around $80,000 that they all in all raised, but they made sure anywhere from our band students had shirts that they needed. All of our drama props were lost, and they made sure that they had all of those still to put on the productions and the shows that were happening a month and a half later. So Lisa Rhodes and the team at Education Foundation really rallied and made it happen for our students.
Awesome. So let's talk about the rebuilding process, next steps. We have to rebuild the chorus room, the band room, the ag room. Those were the ones that were really hit by the tornado. But you guys were already in the process of constructing a new admin media center. So those buildings are going to be in addition to this.
Yeah, so really we had started the process to look at adding the new admin front office media center room. Building 5 is one of the original parts of our campus, but also expanding the car line to get our cars off the road in the neighborhood. So that was already kind of part of the plan. Now, in addition to that, we'll start seeing the band, the chorus, the ag, and then also our art room, which is currently housed on the backside of our front office. So that'll be the second building that will make up our new construction.
So what are you most excited about to see as this rebuild process continues?
Yeah, I mean, so for us, right, our school is just a little bit older looking like Stewart. And you know the saying, right? You look good, you feel good. So I look forward to not only our students, but our adults and our families and our community members still recognizing the history and all of the great things that have happened here on campus, but really getting into a building that makes them feel as good as they do on the inside.
Well, I'm excited to see how everything comes out. I know it's going to still be a year or two away before everything's finished, but it's really exciting to see just the rebuilding process. I know we've used that term resilience like so many times, but it's how better can you describe what's going on here?
Right.
Resilience, that lion pride.
Yes, it's alive and well.
Yes, I love it. Well, I guess, is there anything else about, any last message about Hurricane Milton and anything to the Murray community you want to say before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, I think I speak on all of us behalf here at Murray Middle School, how thankful we are. We had schools and businesses literally stretching from Michigan that were reaching out and sending even just basic school supplies all the way down to Broward. So, to hear people hit our little story and the fact that it makes it up and the love that was poured into our performing arts department, we're just forever grateful for.
And I wanted to mention this earlier, but we were talking about how the show went on. It was always, the damage that happened was always going to be there in our minds, and the devastation was always going to be in our minds, but the show must go on, and that's exactly what the students did, literally, with their performing arts. They had amazing performances through through winter, through spring. We celebrated Murray's 60th here, and the performances there were absolutely spectacular. Just a lot to be proud of that happened this past year, coming out of that,
Yeah, it was a great year.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this and, talking about the parts that are hard to talk about, but also, again, that resilience piece that really makes up what's happened after and going all in for Murray Middle School.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, and stay tuned. Right after this brief transition, we are going to talk with Mark Sechrist, who's going to give an update on the rebuild process here at Murray Middle School. All right, welcome back after that little break. Now we have Mark Sechrist joining us, our Director of Facilities. We just had you on a couple episodes ago, and you did briefly talk about the update with Murray Middle School, but today we're gonna go a little more into depth. With it being a year since Hurricane Milton impacted our area, devastated so many families, communities, buildings. Obviously, Murray Middle School being one of those, we wanted to talk about the process of what the immediate aftermath of how our crews came together to make sure that students were ready to go that Monday after it happened. And then also where we are now with the rebuilding process.
Great. So I have some exciting news. I'll give a brief overview of what happened basically from now to a year ago from now. Because essentially we're looking at that year, basically on October 9th, Hurricane Milton hit the school, Murray Middle School. I got the call on the morning of the 10th to go assess what had happened and take a look. Essentially, 2 of the buildings lost roofs. 1 building had a damaged roof, so we had to put a temporary roof on that. So immediately when we assessed the site, we called in Cotton, which is a national disaster recovery company, because of the damage that was done, and we were trying to get the school open for that next Monday. So essentially I had to work with them from Thursday through Sunday, and we were able to clean up the site. You really couldn't tell anything happened only if you were inside those buildings that lost a roof, and it was open and safely for students to start school on Monday. So that was a lengthy process in those 3 days.
I bet very tiring, but you guys did an incredible job with cotton. I mean, being able to open back up on Monday it's incredible. And I'm glad that we were able to do that for our students and staff. I know we saw a lot of pictures come out of that, and it was all hands on deck.
And they brought in a massive crew. I mean, we were talking at least 60 people a day from their group that were basically cleaning up that whole site. And then on Friday and Thursday, maintenance was helping also. So we co-elevated with staff across our teams to get this happen. It was really fast, and it was really great to see. And I appreciate the board pre-approving cotton so that they were available in case an event happened where we weren't backtracking, trying to figure out what to do. We actually had the plan in place, and then we were able to execute it. Prior to August 11th, we were able to move in MPLEXs, and what an MPLEX means, it's larger than a single portable. It's a group of portables put together, and we were able to use a group for band and a group for choir. And so those became their classrooms, and they were able to use them when school started on August 11th.
Yeah, and they're huge portables.
They're huge. A standard portable doesn't work because of the size of the instruments and the amount of rows of people you have to have and the teacher. So you need a larger classroom, and so we went to the MPLEX route, and then we were able to get whatever was quickly available. So we worked from June to basically July to get those installed with maintenance, and then some of our outside vendors to connect the electricity and some of the data and everything that goes into those portables. So that was a big accomplishment, because now they can use those portables until we actually get the new buildings built, and that's in the future.
Yeah, we still have, I think one thing that a lot of people might not know with government entities, or at least school districts specifically, I'm not sure if it's all government entities, but we have to do an approval process and
we go through a procurement process.
So that's, you have to
find... And it's a public bid, and so you allow the public to see it, and they can put in their proposals, and then you basically have the board approve the lowest qualified bidder. And it's submitted by the department, and we request they, go approve this vendor. And you do that for the architect, and you do that for the CM at risk. So current date, we are moving forward with the project. As of August 19th, they approved the contract for the architect. And then September 16th, they approved the CM at risk contract. So essentially what that did is that started the timeline for the designing of the new project, which includes admin, media, and the 3 buildings that were damaged. We
were awarded by the state $500,000 a few months ago to help with
correct
our rebuilding process. So talk about what that money is being used for.
So we were contacted, we worked with the state through Carter Morrison with finance, and essentially the state approved $500,000, and it was basically because we were damaged by Milton. And working with Carter, we decided what that funding should go for. So it's actually helping pay for the MPLEXs, because that's a cost we didn't know we were going to have, but it's essential to keep education going on at Murray Middle School. So the time frame those portables or MPLEXs are in place, that $500,000 will help pay for that fee.
Well, I guess we can look forward to beautiful new buildings, though, at Murray Middle School. Not only the admin and the media center, but now this...
A classroom building.
Yeah, whole classroom building. I think Tiffany mentioned that it's going to be kind of like a related arts building.
Correct.
Where it's going to have the ag, it's going to have band, it's going to have chorus, it's going to have art.
It has a lot of our lab spaces, which all the students use. It's not really dedicated to a grade level.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have the media center that the whole school uses, and then admin's right below it. So yeah, it's more of a campus-wide building.
So in your experience, so we just got the design, or we're in the design plan phase. What is a potential timeline in your experience, if you can guesstimate?
So this is estimated time. We're working the schedule now with the contractor and the architect, but essentially we're looking at probably 10 months from now, we'll be bringing forward the construction documents and GMP. And once you have that GMP approval, then you're looking at, a year from now of hopefully breaking ground, which is exciting because that's even a tight timeline, almost as tight as trying to figure out how to get recovered from Milton. But the teams we have are good and they're used to working. We've actually, even though we went through the approval process, it's the exact same team that built Stewart Middle School. So they have that experience of an active campus, a tight campus, and then you're building inside all of that. But yeah, so we're going to go through a schematic phase where they give you kind of the rough layout of the building and with walls, doors, and everything. And then you're going to go through a design development phase, and then you're going to go through a construction document phase. And then once we get through that phase, then the GMP can be developed. So that all takes place in the next 10 months.
All right. Well, a lot to look forward to at Murray Middle School, that's for sure.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. It is.
It'll be good for the kids
Yeah.
and staff.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today to give that update and even, recount the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Milton. Your team and Cotton, everyone that got involved really did a great job. I think it was, it shows how resilient our district can be.
Correct.
And how resilient our community can be. So
It was an awesome process.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you
you.
guys for joining us on this episode. In the meantime, just stay tuned. Wherever you scroll, we're on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and you can find this podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you.